What's going on, guys? So, it is possible that the long-awaited Man of Steel 2 movie might actually be getting a director soon, because apparently Matthew Vaughn, Mr. Director of Kick-Ass, freaking Kingsman, X-Men First Class, and the upcoming Kingsman sequel, is in talks with WB in the deal-making stages to direct this next Superman movie. Now, I must say that I saw this report from comicbookresources.com, and their source is Collider, and let's not forget that Collider is the one that started the whole rumor about Ben Affleck wanting out as Batman, which we haven't heard shit about that. So, take this with what you will, but I do want to talk about this because if Matthew Vaughn is in actual talks to direct the Man of Steel sequel, I think this would be actually pretty badass. When I first heard this news, I was like, I don't know how that'll do, because if you've watched Kingsman or if you watch Kick-Ass, both of those are badass movies in my opinion, but they're very hyper-violent. If you've ever seen them, they both have two scenes, Kick-Ass, the warehouse scene, and Kingsman, the church scene, that are very, very hyper-violent. And that just doesn't go with the Superman movie, but I completely forgot that he directed X-Men First Class, which is one of the better X-Men movies, and that just reminds me that I'm like, alright, this guy's very versatile when it comes to superhero movies, so maybe he can make a badass Superman movie. And the thing that excites me from this article that I read on comicbookresources.com is that apparently he already has a vision for Superman. According to this article, Matthew Vaughn and Mark Miller, the creator of Kick-Ass, pitched a Superman movie to WB, but instead of going with their idea, WB went with Christopher Nolan's Man of Steel idea, which, if you remember that was Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan was overseeing this movie, which was supposed to kick off the DCEU, which it kind of did because they kind of just made BVS, whatever. So you know how all of that goes. But so it is pretty cool that Matthew Vaughn was already in talks way back in the day to direct Superman, so he's had a vision for a really long time. And apparently when asked what it would take to make a successful Superman movie, Matthew Vaughn said that, you know, Superman doesn't need to be taken so seriously, not like the Dark Knight kind of movies. And he talks about how Nolan, you know, brought in this like escapism for dark movies, but nobody really wants that anymore. People want more like, you know, fun-going movies, which is what Superman is. And he also says that, you know, Superman is all about color and fun. And we do know that Jeff Johns says he wants to bring hope back to the DCEU. And, you know, with Matthew Vaughn talking about, you know, how these things need to be fun and colorful and shit like that, that could be very much what the DCEU needs and wants at the moment. And Matthew Vaughn might just be the perfect director to make a Man of Steel sequel movie. I always got to point this out before anybody's like, oh my god, he's going to be the next director, blah, blah, blah. Remember, guys, the in-talk stages or the making of the deal stages can always fall through. We saw that with Matt Reeves and the Batman movie. Luckily, he came back and was all like, you know, he's going to direct the movie now. But right now, a lot of directors, I feel like, know the DCEU needs really good movies, so they're kind of pushing back against WB when WB wants to give them these little cash deals, and they're like, no, I'm gonna walk. That causes more like, oh, DCEU, you know, freaking loses another director when they technically didn't sign him. And then WB's like, oh shit, okay, here's your money, here's your money, here's your money. Or, you know, they work out some kind of deal, like you'll get profits from the movie or whatever. So, I think right now, a lot of directors see that, and that is why you're seeing a lot of these big name people get interested in these movies. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, because it's also showing that WB wants to change their style. WB is willing to try to make better movies instead of just pushing them out super fast, although that is what they want. But at the same time, they want good movies because they do care about what critics think, because they know that if critics rate this movie really well, they're gonna make more money in the long run. So they're starting to put their money where their mouth is and starting to bring in these new directors. And I have to say, I'm really excited about this, because Matthew Vaughn, after seeing what he's done with X-Men and Kick-Ass and Kingsman, I'm totally down for him directing the Superman. But if you look at every other director that is rumored or is already gonna direct a movie for the DCEU, I'm getting pretty excited about this. Like I already mentioned, we got Matt Reeves, somebody who brought back the Planet of the Apes franchise and who's made some other solid movies. you know, he's going to be directing the Batman, so that is going to be pretty badass, and I'm pretty sure he'll continue to direct the Batman movies, you know, if the first one is really successful. You got James Wan taking on Aquaman, who's made, you know, some of the Fast and the Furious movies. He's made some really successful horror movies, and he's going to be taking on a movie that hasn't been made before, so he's going to be able to put his own vision in there, but at the same time, he's just showing you how he can develop characters really badass and just bring horror to the big screen. He's gonna be able to show like the craziness of the underwater world, but I mean, he's really excited. He said he's always wanted to make a superhero movie, so that is badass. You got David Ayers, who I think is a good director, but Suicide Squad was hella rushed, and now he's going to be working on Gotham City Sirens, and he's going to have time to develop these characters. This movie has no release date yet, so he doesn't have to write the script in 6 months. He's not even, I mean, in 6 weeks. He doesn't even have to write the script because they pin somebody else, whoever this new name, you know, screenplay writer is, that she hasn't made anything yet, but she's writing the script, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He can just concentrate on directing and making a badass movie, possibly, you know, casting whoever he's going to cast for this movie. So, we got a bunch of solid directors, in my opinion. Suicide Squad 2 is rumored to be eyeing Mel Gibson, and like I said, you can hate Mel Gibson all you want, but you can't deny that the dude isn't a solid director. He made a movie about Jesus that made hundreds of millions of dollars, and if you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, go watch Hacksaw Ridge and tell me that's not a good movie. Homeboy can direct. He might be a fucking douchebag, but he can direct. So with all of that and this report of Matthew Vaughn possibly coming on to direct the sequel to Man of Steel, I'm pretty excited for the DCEU. I mean, I've been excited because I've been wanting to watch all of these movies, and I've always wanted to have more DC movies, and it's just not something that's always come about. It's always just been Batman movies or Superman movies, and we're finally getting new shit. But seeing that Warner Brothers is getting these new name directors, not new name, but like well-made directors that have some kind of credit behind them and that have brought franchises back from the dead or just made new franchises, you know, something that people want to watch, gets me really excited. Because one thing, if you guys don't realize it, Matthew Vaughn made two superhero movies, or 2 comic book movies that are not Marvel and DC, which is badass. I mean, he made X-Men First Class, that is Marvel, but he made Kick-Ass and freaking The Kingsman, which are totally not owned by DC or Marvel. So that's badass that he was able to make 2 comic book movies that not a lot of people heard about. Yes, there are comic book readers that are like, oh shit, I can't watch this. I mean, I can't wait to watch this. But a majority of the people that probably watched that movie never even knew those were comic books, and then they're just like, oh shit, that's cool, or didn't know that those weren't Marvel or DC. So this news gets me really excited. But like I said, it's just a report. You know, that's coming from comic book resources, but if it is true, I am totally down with this freaking move for him to direct the movie. But I do want to know what you guys think about Matthew Vaughn possibly directing Man of Steel 2, and I want to know what you think about all of these directors coming in to direct these upcoming DC movies. You know, we haven't got one for The Flash, but it's very possible that DC is like, you know what, fuck it, let's just wait until we get somebody that we really want to direct The Flash. You know, I heard that they might rewrite that whole script, which is really good for a new director or a new director coming into a movie, because a lot of directors want to have their own vision on something. So it's very possible that they could be doing that too. That means the Flash movie might get pushed back though. Anyways, what do you think about all of these freaking new directors possibly coming into the DCEU movies? Let me know in the comment sections down below. Guys and gals, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your DCEU buddies. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all things nerdy and geeky on this channel. As always, I am your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. If I have a daily dose of juice, see you guys next time. Bye!